All right, hello guys, क्या हाल है? I hope everyone is doing well. Good day today. Lots of good news has happened over the last week or so. So I think that's what we'll focus on a little bit.
ये वैसे
2 or
फोटो
3
देखिए अभिजीत की, ये जो
ये
ये
देखो,
वाली
ये
फोटो है, ये
27
उस
साल
जमाने
पुरानी
में है
फोटो
जब
लगा रखी है।
हाँ वही, पता नहीं कौन से जमाने में जब अभिजीत फुग्गा नहीं था।
ये वो बोलते हैं ना, ग्रेप का रेजिन हो रखा है। रेजिन वाली
हाँ
फोटो लगा रखी है अपनी।
हाँ, इतना रिस्पेक्टेबल लग रहा है अभिजीत।
इतना शरीफ लग रहा है। शराफत देखो ना शक्ल पे। ये देखो आ गया वापस। ये असली अभिजीत वापस आ गया। वो शराफत वाली फोटो गायब हो गई। So yeah, so lot of good things to discuss today. But I did want to start with something major that happened in media, film, whatever you want to call it, this week. That on last weekend, Kashmir Files was released, and this is from Taran Adarsh, who's a film analyst. He says the Kashmir Files continues to create havoc, smashes myths, and demolishes box office records. Day-wise numbers are an eye-opener. A case study: Friday 3.55 crore, Saturday 8 crore, Sunday 15, Monday 15, Tuesday 18, Wednesday 19. Total 79.25 crores India business so far. That is not even counting कि बाहर कितना business किया है इन्होंने. So I think this film will comfortably cross 100 crores by the end of this week.
125 करोड़ लग रहा है बिजनेस कर लेगी, और अगर इसने
Yeah.
125 करोड़ कर लिया तो this is my understanding from whatever little I've spoken to folks who understand the film business. There are multiple reasons why we should celebrate the success of the Kashmir Files.
Yeah.
Point number one, it proves that there is a market for sharing the truth of atrocities on different communities in India, not just the minorities. You can now create content where you can show the genocide. And yes, I was so happy that Abhijit wrote that op-ed where he categorically stated this was a genocide.
I want to bring that up in a second.
And this was not an exodus. And just to clarify, genocide ki definition as per the dictionary is the deliberate killing of a large number of people from a particular nation or ethnic group with the aim of destroying that nation or group.
Yes.
So that last bit is very important in that definition. जो वो जो sleight of hand खेल रहे थे ना ये जो टुच्चे लोग, जो अभिजीत ने ऑपेंट पे अनफॉर्चुनेटली अभिजीत ने डेफिनेशन नहीं डाली. आई थिंक अभिजीत की गलती नहीं है, मुझे लगता है जिन्होंने भी एडिटोरियल किया होगा या वो लोग ने नहीं एक्सेप्ट किया होगा.
It had already become too long.
Yeah, so that's the reason. But इसके लिए मैंने बोला कि at least I read the definition of what a genocide is. Now the left will change the definition of a genocide is a separate thing. But to come back to why we should all celebrate. Look, मूवी X थी, मूवी Y थी, मूवी में ये हो सकता था. देख भाई, मैं यहाँ पे कोई फिल्म क्रिटिक हूँ नहीं. मेरा पॉइंट ये है, नंगा नहाएगा क्या, निचोड़ेगा क्या. मैं तो सीधा बोल रहा हूँ. And I say this with full responsibility. Kudos to Vivek Agnihotri. Kudos to each and every person who has been part of this project. You have created history. They have done something that was unthinkable. And let me tell you, this movie would not have been a bigger hit. Because of the left, it is a biggest hit. Because the left has practiced negationism and denialism for I don't know, 75 years of our independence. We have been told that nothing has happened to the Hindus in this country. हिंदुओं के ऊपर कोई किस्म का अत्याचार नहीं हुआ है. And if you keep on doing that, you know what? You have given everything in the platter to Kashmir Files and made go to 200 crores now.
Yeah, exactly.
So normally it is, the right wing that keeps making celebrities of the left and making left-wing narratives a hit. Here, for the first time, the left wing has gone and made a right-wing story the hit.
Yeah, that's very true. That's very true. And credit goes to them as well. जो लोग इतना चीख चिल्ला रहे हैं इस समय पर social media पे, a lot of credit goes to you as well. है 25 करोड़ का तो आप ही ने बिजनेस करवा दिया है, सो थैंक यू वेरी मच।
Oh yes, oh yes.
Exactly.
विवेक तो अभी बोलेगा भाई मेरी मूवी के पहले ऐसे ही अटैक करो।
ऐसे ही अपना रंडी रोना करते रहना यार, ऐसे ही 50 करोड़ फ्री में हो जाते हैं फिल्म
And I'm
के।
so happy for Vivek, boss. Just look at it from his point of view.
Yeah.
ये बोलने की बातें होती हैं, अरे मैं तो खुला बोल रहा हूँ, मालूम है क्या अक्यूज करेंगे लोग विवेक को। चल मैं तो बोलता हूँ, मेरा वैसे ही नाम खराब है, क्या फर्क पड़ता है। बोलेंगे ही इज
और तू काला है।
हाँ शट अप,
Yeah.
कुत्ते देख ले।
It's
तो
a light
अभी
trick.
लोग क्या अक्यूज करेंगे, अरे विवेक वो देखा था टुच्चे को, उसकी 2012 की ऐसे नमाज पढ़ते हुए फोटोज को। मैं बोला चलो ठीक है, मैं पॉइंट ये है सालो तुमने तो नहीं की,
But that's
उस
my
बंदे ने तो
point.
हिम्मत की।
Yeah.
बॉस आज के इतने टॉक्सिक एनवायरनमेंट में जहां पे आप लेफ्ट से 1 इंच भी डिविएट करते हो, आपको पूरा बॉलीवुड बॉयकॉट करता है। जो विवेक के साथ हुआ है उसको बॉलीवुड बॉयकॉट कर चुका है। उसके बाद 100 करोड़ की पिक्चर निकालना, भाई उसकी पीठ थपथपानी चाहिए यार।
यार that's what I'm saying कि आपको बहुत लोग बोल रहे हैं कि फिल्म में ये टेक्निकल प्रॉब्लम है, वो टेक्निकल प्रॉब्लम है, तो भाई तू बना ले। 30 साल तक तो मौका था ना, तू बना ले। क्यों नहीं बनाई तूने? तेरे को इतना शिंडलर लिस्ट बनाना आता है तो तू बना लेना भाई। इतना क्यों दुखी हो रहा है दूसरे की फिल्म पे? इतना परेशान हो रहा है तो जाकर फंडिंग इकट्ठा कर ले, खुद बना ले फिल्म। कोई दूसरा बना रहा है तो तुमको बहुत खुजली हो रही है यार।
और एक और ये घटिया पॉइंट है ना अभिजीत, वी शुड आल्सो डील विद दिस। ये जो एक्यूजेशन आ रही है ना, अरे यू शुड नॉट मेक दीज मूवीज क्रिएट डिविजन्स इन सोसाइटी। बोलो बहनचोदो,
तो गुजरात फाइल्स कौन सा कम डिवीजन किया फिर?
हाँ तुम्हारी माँ का साला। जो इसके पहले पिक्चर, अच्छा तमस सीरीज आई थी, उसने भी डिवीजन क्रिएट किया था सोसाइटी में। मतलब सच नहीं दिखाया, क्योंकि डिवीजन क्रिएट कर दो, चूतिया किसी और को बनाओ यार।
अरे यार हैदर भी तो निकल के आई थी।
Now they always say, see, you should also talk about the Muslims who were killed. Tell me, where does Gujarat Files talk about the Hindus that were killed?
Yeah.
Tell me one. 750 Muslims were killed, 250 Hindus were killed.
Yeah.
Nobody even mentions, even as a footnote, 250 Hindus were killed.
Yeah.
तो तुमने कहाँ पिक्चर बनाई है showing the Hindu suffering during the Gujarat riots?
Yeah.
Now tell me something. In World War II, 26 million Russians were killed and about 3 million Germans were killed. Is it a rule that every time you make a Holocaust movie, you should show the suffering of the 3 million Germans and the 26 million Russians?
Yeah.
क्या किसको चूतिया बना रहे हैं ये लोग? कहते हैं चूतिया
खुद हैं, बन रहे हैं, बना नहीं रहे, वो बन रहे हैं, वो अपने आप को दिखा रहे हैं. So I want to ask both of you guys this, and do you feel that finally after a long time, I think there are two things to this as well, two questions in one essentially. Ke after a long time there is potentially a market developing for non-left media, films, books. You look at the success of Kashmir Files, you look at the success of Vikram Sampath's Savarkar biography, you look at the success of Sanjeev Sanyal's book, look at the success of Jai Sai Deepak's book, whether you agree with it or not. Books are successful. ये तो मानना ही पड़ेगा ना.
So very happy about his book success.
Exactly.
Too.
So
yeah.
The point is कि do you think कि यार शायद एक market develop हो रहा है, and B, how important do you think the fact that this narrative has a certain amount of political power, how much role does that play into the success or even the ability of these people to put out this kind of content?
So remember, the first thing that scares them is that the right has an ability now to put out this content. Okay, which is why they go hammer and tongs at it. Yes. Sanjeev Sanyal is not a true author. Vikram Sampath is not a true actor.
Not a true researcher.
Not a true researcher. It should be contextualized the way we say it should be contextualized. Vivek Agnihotri is not a real filmmaker. This is not a real film. This is not the truth. क्या बकवास है. So good. They're at least feeling that fear.
Yeah.
And that's a very, very good thing. Now, remember, they are actually trying to prove what everyone says about them right by trying to stoke up riots. Remember, that fellow Jihadi Jabbar, Zubair, he actually tweeted two very important pieces of information yesterday.
Yeah.
One, he tweeted कि उसने खुद अब उसका ही कोई लौंडा होगा because if you look at the filming, it was all staged. The camera is
right.
waiting for this guy to go
And
up
as
and
soon
say
as the film
something.
finishes, right? Yeah.
And as soon as the film finishes, this guy goes up and says something incendiary. Now, we've still not been able to figure out the original source of that, except it's all come from left-wing. Even the original video quoting source is a left-wing Muslim source.
Yeah.
ठीक है? तो ये कौन बंदा है, इसका क्या नाम है, किसी को नहीं पता. ठीक है ना? But, and they will never tell you what his name is also. ठीक है ना? So he put that out saying, see, it is creating a mahal of hatred against Muslims.
Yeah.
Then he put out this thing saying some Maulana sitting in somewhere has called for a bandh to protest the hijab, this thing. They want to create trouble and they want to blame you for it. Like they blamed Kapil Mishra for their own rioting.
Yeah.
ये भड़वे खुद दंगा छिड़ाना चाहते हैं और फिर दूसरे लोगों पर इल्जाम डालना चाहते हैं. इन भड़ुओं का यही धंधा है. और ये हैं ही भड़वे, थ्रू एंड थ्रू भड़वे.
और करोगे क्या? You know, what else can you do? Because मैंने किसी को भी नहीं देखा है कि substantially बैठ के point out कर रहा है कि इस फिल्म में प्रॉब्लम क्या है. ये नहीं बोल रहा है कि इस फिल्म में प्रॉब्लम क्या कोई inaccuracy है, क्या कोई झूठ बोला है.
I'll tell you. Vivek Agnihotri made a lot of inaccuracies in depicting the massacres. Okay, he censored them. The first scene where the woman is made to eat rice, what he doesn't tell you is they stayed in her house for 10 days, gang raped her over those 10 days, forced her to cook the rice with her husband's blood over 10 days and force fed her.
साले कुत्ते हैं वो लोग.
She lives somewhere in Houston. She's a total mental wreck since then.
What else do you think is going to happen, man?
Yeah, what else do you think is going to happen?
Yeah.
Vivek did not put that in this thing because, you know, his thing was those women didn't want to show, they didn't want to talk about because there's this taboo about getting raped and things like that here. Okay.
And you also want to make sure it gets a widespread release. Now,
right.
Widespread release.
Now, remember the role that Bhasha Sumri, for example, plays, who gets sawed in half by a mechanical saw. What happens there is she was a teacher. And she was in Jammu. She had already shifted to Jammu.
Yeah.
They made her, the university made her, because the university was in collaboration with the militants. They saw to it she would have to come back to pick up her severance check to Bandipura, which was about 9 hours drive away. She had to go to Bandipura. They were tracking her. Then when the bus was coming back, they stopped the bus, took her out, put her in a taxi. One of them was a co-professor.
Yeah.
They took her, they tortured her, they raped her, and they didn't slice her like this with a mechanical saw. They sliced her like this with a manual saw. She was alive while she didn't have the grace of going through a mechanical saw. She was manually sawed. Okay. So all of these things, in fact, Vivek Agnihotri's only mistakes here is that he has played down what was done to these people.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's a lot out here, and that is why they don't want to talk about the mistakes. Because if you talk about, and it's not mistakes, it's deliberate omission in deference to what happened to those people.
Yeah.
But Girija Tikku's niece has finally come out and put it up on Instagram. Okay? So that is why they will never get into the actual merits of the massacres depicted out there.
Yeah.
They will never talk about it.
I want to talk about
the professor and his son who were nailed to this thing. Their eyes were gouged out and they were nailed alive to the tree.
Yeah. Yeah, that scene, by the way, also actually happened because some people were like, "Whoa, who are you?"
All those scenes happened. There is not a single scene out there that did not happen.
Yeah.
Every one of those scenes actually happened, which is why they don't want to talk about any of those scenes.
Yes.
And mind you, it was all the neighbors come out and celebrated. In fact, when the JKLF used to torture them and before killing them on the road, all the people used to come about and they used to celebrate and join in it. Didn't
Bitta Karate also say that in an interview?
He said that in an interview with Manoj Raghuvanshi. That entire thing where, you know, in the first scene about the rice, where he's hiding in the rice, where the neighbor comes and does this to show he's hiding in the rice. That actually happened because a Pandit family who was staying opposite saw that fellow do it. Yeah. And he was supplying those militants with whatever they needed after that.
Yeah.
Right. So these people, this is like, when DSP Ayub Pandit was killed 3-4 years back outside the Jama Masjid, where he was cannibalized. They jumped on him and bit him. They ripped him like wild dogs with their teeth.
Yeah.
The video of that thing was destroyed by Mehbooba Mufti because
Yeah.
she did not want people to see what had happened. And then they'll claim, oh, the people weren't responsible. Only 1 or 2 did it. No, 1 or 2 did not do it.
Yeah.
Then you also want to talk about the Muslims who were killed by militants. Do you know why they were killed by militants? Most of them were part of, it was intergroup war between militants ki tune mere ko nahi join kiya, usko nahi join kiya.
Yeah.
The second thing was that they, some of the families did not want their kids to go off to militancy, so they would be killed, etc., etc., etc. Okay, the very worst fellow was that bastard who ran Skims, Dr. Guru, who, when the people from Sora were brought injured, they had been sewn up by the doctors. He opened up the wounds and allowed them to bleed to death, and he was allowed to continue at Skims as a doctor. And फिर उसका ये पता चला कि वो पैसे ले रहा था and all of that from these guys, and कुछ पैसे का धंधा हुआ. So the militants themselves killed him because he wasn't paying them what he was collecting money for them and didn't pay them or whatever.
Yeah, I want to bring up your article as well, Abhijit, because I really want people to go take a look at it. I'm not going to bring up everything that's in the article because I do want people to go and read it. But at the same time, so this is what it's called. The Kashmir Files has left genocide deniers nowhere to run and hide. And it is in the article, you do mention, the act of genocide denial by a lot of these people. And I do want to focus on it a little bit because agar aap dekho Europe mein, to, genocide denial is looked upon so harshly. Wahan par to illegal hai. I don't think it should be illegal, but it is looked upon very harshly, right? Agar aap Armenian genocide ko bhi dekho, jo log usko deny karte hain, those people are looked upon very, very harshly by liberals in Europe and the West in general. But India mein, this is exactly what has happened. You mentioned that line that everybody keeps parroting over and over and over again. Keh rahe yaar, FIR dekho na, only 89 people were killed. And I want you to talk about a little bit about that particular line. Okay? Only 89 people were killed. How is this a genocide?
Right. 89 people were not killed. Only 89 FIRs were filed. Okay. Now, there is a place called the Kashmiri Pandit Sangharsh Samiti. They represent the Kashmiris who stayed back, the 5 or 10 Kashmiris who stayed back, and they are in extreme stress. So they've actually put out a tweet against the movie saying, this movie has put us in danger. That itself should tell you what the Kashmiri people are like.
Yeah.
Okay. But anyway, I'm sending you this thing. I'm sending this to you on the group. Just put it up,
Okay.
Sharma. These are the 2 photos of what he's tweeted out.
Okay.
1 second. I will. Oh, ye kahan gaya? 1 second.
Okay, I see one of them.
No. 1 second. No, not that. That was don't put that up yet. That was the direct one. Don't tell Kushal also that I sent that to you.
Okay.
But मैंने तेरे को WhatsApp पे भेजा है, देख.
अच्छा, WhatsApp पे भेजा है. Let me. अरे यार, WhatsApp पे मैं कैसे?
Oh, ठीक है. 1 second.
Twitter पे डालना. Twitter पे it's easier for me to share.
हाँ. Twitter DM पे मैं तेरे को भेज रहा हूँ. 1 second. Tweet number 1.
Yeah.
And tweet number 2.
Okay. Let me see. Okay.
Put it up.
Yeah. I'm putting it up right now. So this one, right?
Now go to the next one.
Okay, let me pull that one up as well. 1 second. This one? Okay.
Kashmiri Files makes resident Kashmiri Pandits unsafe.
Yeah.
Understand they are being threatened even now.
Yeah.
ये इस जमात की औकात है.
यार अभी भी तो the MLAs that got killed, वो तो अभी तो मारे गए हैं ना, जो councillors मारे गए हैं.
हाँ, वो तो अभी मारे गए हैं.
Yeah.
They killed those pandits even 6 months back, no, in October or something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
So they are shitting their pants because they are like, now these buggers are going to come kill us, And if they do kill, it only proves what everything that Vivek Agnihotri is saying is right.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, it is the same Kashmiri Pandit Sangharsh Samiti that has documented 1,200 plus people who went missing, whose families could not go report to the police. Because this is like saying, in World War II, when the SS officer came to pick me up from my house, he shot my daughter.
Yeah.
And then you say, what is the proof? You never filed an FIR. Kaha? She was meant to go to the SS station and file the FIR with the guys. Because remember, the police were complicit. The Jammu and Kashmir police were completely complicit in it. Kashmiri bureaucrats had signed a thing saying Kashmir can no longer be part of India and we want to join. And none of them were sacked.
Yeah.
None of the Kashmir police were sacked. Okay. There are documented instances where Kashmir police were sitting by or assisting the militants in killing.
Yeah.
So when Vivek Agnihotri shows that thing, those Air Force officers gunned down, that actually happened. The police used to refuse to come out and even hold these guys. They'd see them running away, they won't stop them.
Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly true. And, there's a line in your article that I really connected with. It says, there's two kinds of genocide that has happened, or there are two kinds of killings that have happened. There's obviously the physical genocide where you've murdered thousands of people and displaced hundreds of thousands of people outside of their ancestral homeland. The other one is also that they've been threatened, betrayed, tortured, and killed. You see the state collapse and the rump state in league with those who wanted to kill you, to be unable to file an FIR for fear that the police will hand you over to be killed, like the Palghar sadhus we saw on video, to be made to live off a mere 600 a month while your killers were given 1.5 to 2 lakh for surrendering, to have your academics then whitewash your story, your prime minister talk peace with your murderer, your TV channels declare them as youth icons, your industrialists schmooze them, and then to be accused of being a hate-filled bigot if you ever open your mouth about all these atrocities.
Yeah.
I want people to just think about that, because that's fucking wild. That's fucking wild.
This, the state made you do this. With the Armenian genocide and the Jewish genocide, they were at least allowed to talk about it. Here, if you talked about it, there were secondary consequences.
Yeah.
Right? Why? Because the government wanted to go all out to protect anything that it had to do with this situation getting to where it was.
Yeah.
Right? So there's nothing. And mind you, the BJP hasn't exactly covered itself in glory during this entire period. Huh? At least the redeeming factor is that no BJP Prime Minister ever invited Yassin Malik into the PMO and shook hands with him.
Yeah.
Okay, no, and the BJP has, in a large sense, atoned for what it did by allowing this movie and promoting this movie.
And
that was the very
370.
least, and abrogating 370. Okay, so उनका जो प्रायश्चित करना था उन्होंने कर लिया. When is Anand Mahindra going to come up and apologize?
Yeah. Apparently, he's still Aditya Raj Kaul is still blocked by him.
No,
Just for
he's
asking that
unblocked
question,
now.
right? Achha,
He's unblocked him,
Chalo, that's good.
but Anand Mahindra has never apologized.
Yeah.
India Today has never apologized for calling that bastard a youth icon.
Yeah.
Right? And mind you, he killed Air Force officers.
Yeah.
So Anand Mahindra and India Today support the killing of Air Force officers.
Yeah.
Neither of them has apologized.
Yeah.
Neither of them has even said they're going to buy tickets as a TK. If you don't want to apologize openly, but then say something like, we are going to buy tickets to our employees to go for them to go watch Kashmir files.
Yeah. You have to, like Kushal, honestly think about that level of trauma where you have been gaslit for the past 30 plus years into thinking कि आपके साथ कुछ हुआ ही नहीं है, despite what you've seen with your own eyes. Like that level of gaslighting, I have no idea what it does to your brain.
Well, I think certain communities in India can actually relate to this.
Of course,
the
yeah.
Sindhi community can, Bengalis and Punjabi community can relate to it because they know the trauma of leaving their houses and homes and
The Malabar
virtually
Hindus
coming
can.
back with nothing and standing.
Yeah.
Basically coming back and restarting their life from scratch. I think even Amit Thadani wrote a beautiful review of the movie Kashmir Files, and he wrote it from a Sindhi perspective.
Yeah.
Now, in my case, half of my family was in the Indian Punjab and some part of my family was in the Pakistani Punjab. But the point is, like, I know a friend of mine, he's a Sardar, and he has stated how just a day before everything is fine, and then one fine day some people come and warn them that, you know, you're gonna be, there's a mob coming to kill you, whatever you can garner, you garner, and just run away. And you know, he told me the story one night we were at his house for dinner, and how we managed to gather everything together, and we just freaking left with whatever we could have. And you know, it's so funny. I think everybody was just digging holes and putting their jewelry there, hoping that when they come back, they'll come back to Pakistan and they'll somehow get their jewelry. But obviously, it never happened. And so it's not like you can.
I mean, it's like that scene from the movie, right? Where when they're in the camp, Kushal, and Anupam Kher keeps saying to his kids, "कि अभी जाएंगे ना वापस जब कश्मीर, तो फिर वहाँ पर ये करेंगे, वो करेंगे." He keeps talking about that they're going to return in like a couple of weeks.
And see, you cannot return there. Even right now, the real healing will only happen when there is some sort of. I have always believed that there should be look, I don't know how to say it. I just don't see Kashmiri Hindus and Kashmiri Muslims living in an equal society where there is no real threat perception on the Kashmiri Hindus. And if that is the case, then you will have to carve out communities within that land of Kashmir and give it to Hindus. And
you have to make settler movements a la Israel. Arm them to the teeth. Seize the extra land required. There needs to be a restitution act, because you know the Roshni Act was the second this thing. You know what the Roshni Act was? No? They were basically said that anybody who hasn't paid their electricity bill is having their land seized.
Wow.
So if then they'd abandoned their land, if they hadn't sold it because they had not paid electricity bill, electricity bill paying is more important. And mind you, all the parties went along with it. The people who passed the Roshni bill need to be pulled out of their bloody houses and whacked.
You're right though, Kushal. Like, you know, ये बस आप जाके वापस रह लो, you know, peace and reconciliation करो.
There is no truth and reconciliation of this sort. The first process of truth and reconciliation is acknowledgement of the truth. In some ways, you know what this movie has proven? This movie has proven that the country is willing to accept the truth. And you know what? All these bastards, when I say bastards are the denialists and the negationists, you know what these bastards wanted? They wanted riots in this country when this movie was released. These bastards wanted that. But
they wanted it.
The Hindu community has again shown that all they wanted was their trauma to be shown. All the Hindu community wanted was an acknowledgement of their trauma. That's all. And let me tell you, in a way, the Hindu community also has let down the Kashmiri Pandit community. And the Hindu community is owning up to that itself through this movie. Everybody is owning it. You know, I don't believe in collective guilt.
When was the last time somebody went out and watched an indie movie in this large number? This is an indie movie. This is
an indie movie.
And what the fuck are we talking about? And you know, on this point of ये ट्रूथ नहीं है, वो ट्रूथ नहीं है. अरे हरामजादो, एक तो तुम गेट कीपर बन जाते हो पूरी चीज का, ठीक है? तुम कोई चीज को आगे ही नहीं आने देते हो. Look, Abhijit and I are privy to many things, right? The way these bastards are going after Vikram Sampath, the way they go after Vikram, you know why? Because he's alone. Well, he's not. He has many people supporting him, but the point is he's one historian. Or Sanjeev Sanyal wrote X books. So it's very easy, you know, for them the target is so imagine कर हमको कितने लोगों को पढ़ना पड़ता है? थापर, Habib 1, Habib 2, फिर ये, फिर वो, फिर यहाँ, फिर वहां. साला भेजो हमारा 80% टाइम तो लेफ्ट विंग लोगों को पढ़ने को चले जाता है. साला लिखेंगे कब? उन लोगों को कितना पढ़ना पड़ता है? उनको तो हमारे इतने लोगों को ही पढ़ना पड़ता है. उसके बाद उनके 500 आपके एक आदमी पे फोकस करते हैं. उनको कितना इजी है ये सोचो ना. एक वॉर या स्ट्रेटेजिकली आप ये सोचो. चलो मैं बहुत पढ़ता हूं, अभिजीत बहुत पढ़ता है. हम लोगों को कितना ज्यादा पढ़ना पड़ता है लेफ्ट को क्रिटिसाइज करने के लिए. बनिस्बत लेफ्ट को क्या करना है? उसको सिर्फ कुशल मेहरा को एक बार सुनना है, या शाम को सुनना है, या अभिजीत को पढ़ना है और जवाब दे देना है. उनको कितना इजी है. वी नीड मोर ऑफ दिस. हम करें कैसे? जब हम देखो, कश्मीर फाइल्स कुड हैव बीन एस्थेटिकली बेटर. तो बेंचो कौन ना बोल रहा है उसको. पॉइंट ये है कि बनाए कैसे, गांड ही मार देते हैं बनाने से जाते हैं. तो
अरे पैसा भी तो चाहिए ना मूवी को एस्थेटिकली बेटर बनाने के लिए.
इसके लिए तो बोल रहा हूँ, अभी इस मूवी को पैसे मिले हैं, अब और वो 3 मूवी बनाएगा भाई. तो तब उसको बोलो भाई ये मूवी में ये ले आ, ये एस्थेटिक्स ले. और अब मैं एक बात बोलता हूँ, इसमें सबसे बड़ी गाली देख भाई, एक हिंदी में कहावत है, उगते सूरज को सब प्रणाम करते हैं. तू
Yes.
नोट कर, पहले 2 दिन कोई बॉलीवुड या टुच्चा पैंचोद
किसी ने ट्वीट नहीं किया.
मूवी को प्रमोट नहीं कर
किसी
रहा
ने
था.
नहीं.
ऐसे ही मूवी हिट हुई. वाओ ब्रो,
Wow, bro, मजा आ गया यार. Oh my God, सच सामने आ
अरे यार
गया.
तुम साले सबके सब डरपोक थर्ड
Yeah.
क्लास टुच्चे लोग हो. टुच्चे लोग हैं ये लोग.
Nobody stuck their neck out. That is a very good point, actually, Kushal. That needs to
पूरी
be
इंडस्ट्री
stated
साली
again.
नंगी है. पूरी
Yeah.
पूरी फिल्म इंडस्ट्री नंगी है. ये
Yeah.
लोगों को और क्लियर है 4-5 मैक्सिमम 7 प्रोडक्शन हाउस होंगे. उसमें भी जो प्रोडक्शन हाउस में जो इंचार्ज होएगा वो गोटे दबा के रखते हैं सबके. इसको
Yeah.
आउट कर देंगे, इसको इन कर देंगे, इसको आउट कर देंगे, इसको नहीं आने देंगे, यहाँ नहीं आने देंगे. अब मैं कोई कंगना के रोज की कमेंट्री का कोई फैन नहीं हूं, मगर उन्होंने कंगना के साथ भी क्या किया है.
Yeah.
पॉइंट है, जरा आप डिविएट करते हो सो कॉल्ड गेटकीपर्स की पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से, वो आपकी ठोक देते हैं.
Yeah.
अब आप
इसीलिए I've been saying for a very long time, these people like Vidhu Vinod Chopra, Karan Johar and stuff, the government really needs to start cracking down on the bank loans and shit that they get.
Yeah.
Okay, because all these fuckers are bloody Dawood Ibrahim ke some kind of rishtedar in some form or the other.
Yeah.
Okay, that control of the underworld over Bollywood continues unabated. Now, notice every single movie that was made about Kashmir from these assholes, Haider and all those ones, they didn't do well, no?
Yeah.
This is done well. It shows you there's a market. Now,
Yeah.
now understand, these people, they will not switch tack even for the market. Okay, why? Think about it. Because the rest of them will not allow you to deviate. So even if one person deviates, the consequences are so high that they will accept कि ये picture loss होगा, पर कम से कम मेरा अगला picture तो फिर महा success होगा.
Yeah.
So did you see Vivek Agnihotri made a movie on that good for nothing Anupama Chopra?
That
she
video.
She runs a D-grade thing called Film Companion or something like that.
Yeah.
It's as bad as her face is ugly. Now, when it comes to this thing, to Gehraiyan,
Yeah.
there are about 100 tweets. Gehraiyan this, Gehraiyan
Yes.
ka trailer, super success, this, that, whatnot. With Kashmir Files, when the Kashmir Files trailer had already gotten a record number of views,
Yeah.
what she says is ki, the only one tweet, that too not about the trailer, it's the trailer of Vivek Agnihotri's XYZ is released. We
Yeah.
want to remind you of all the factual errors that were there on Tashkent Files' previous movie.
Yes.
ऐसे घटिया ये एक औरत है.
It was the same thing. If you
और
notice,
उसका
हाँ.
husband उससे भी ज्यादा घटिया है.
And if you
In fact,
notice, जितने भी review वाले platforms हैं जो reviews वगैरह करते हैं, all of them, there was only 1 or 2 platforms that came out and they said कि अच्छा, even before the film release, they said कुशल की ये तो propaganda film है. जब फिल्म रिलीज होगी 3-4 दिन हो गए, उसके बाद पता चलने लगा अच्छा ये तो सुपर हिट होने वाली है. Then there was this deluge of reviews that suddenly came out of nowhere saying कि अच्छा ये मूवी में तो ये inaccuracy है, ये खराबी. तो just like you said earlier कि some people are not willing to stick their
कॉमेडी
neck
है ना
out.
शाम, वो
हाँ.
लाइन मैं तेरे को बोलता हूँ, सबसे कॉमेडी लाइन अगर मैं इस पूरे एपिसोड में पढ़ी थी ना,
हाँ.
प्रिंट के एक रिव्यू में जिसने मूवी को रिव्यू किया ना, उसमें इतनी कॉमेडी लाइन थी ना, मैं बहुत हंसा वो लाइन पढ़ के. एक्चुअली राहुल रोशन ने भी वो लाइन शेयर की थी एंड आई वाज वेरी हैप्पी उसने भी ये बात पकड़ी. जो उसमें मालूम है इस्लामोफोबिया का प्रूफ क्या है उस मूवी में. बोलता है जब वो लास्ट का नदी मार्ग, बेसिकली दे हैव रीएक्टेड द नदी मार्ग मैसेकर ना लास्ट में एंड ऑफ द मूवी में. तो वो जो मैसेकर के बाद है ना, बोलता है पीछे से किसी ने बोला ये कौम ही ऐसी है, AKA दैट इज द मतलब 1 + 1 = 2. किसी ने ये बोला मतलब ये मूवी पेडल्स इस्लामोफोबिया. मेरे को एक बात बताओ, ये किस किस्म का लॉजिक है? और अगर ये लेवल का तुमको देखो, विवेक अग्निहोत्री ने जो करना था ना, वो विवेक अग्निहोत्री ने ऐसी इनकी गांड में आग लगाई है पिक्चर से. तो मजा आ गया. मैं विवेक को मिलूंगा ना, मैं विवेक को मैं तुम लोग जानते हो मैं कभी सिनेमा नहीं जाता. मैं सिर्फ ये मूवी को सपोर्ट करने के लिए मैं सिनेमा में गया, टिकट के पैसे खरीद के. मैं विवेक को बोल रहा हूँ, विवेक साले तूने मेरा रूल तोड़वा दिया सिनेमा नहीं जाने का. मैं तेरे सपोर्ट करने के लिए मैं पिक्चर में गया. मेरे को जेन्युइनली बॉलीवुड से नफरत है.
Yeah.
Now, since I didn't bring this up, but Gandu Shikari brought this up. I sent him a message earlier today saying, "Mera gaand bhi tere se zyada safed." Okay. He said, "तेरे को कैसे पता?" तो मैंने अपना गांड का फोटो लिया.
Oh my!
फोटो
And
मैंने उसको
he
भेजा.
DM'd it to me.
अब DM
हरामी तूने इसको भी भेज दी कुत्ता.
अब देखो,
So-
it is remarkable how my anus looks
Yeah.
like Kushal Mehra's face, just a fairer version of his face. अब वो फोटो डाल. ये मेरा गांड का फोटो है. ये असली में मेरा गांड का फोटो है. और देखो भाइयों और बहनों, मेरा गांड इसके चेहरे से ज्यादा गोरा है कि नहीं?
ज्यादा गोरा है कि नहीं? कौन ज्यादा गोरा
है ना?
है, अभिजीत की गांड या फिर कुशल मेहरा? प्लीज कमेंट सेक्शन में हमें जरूर बताएं.
कमेंट सेक्शन में जरूर बताएं.
हमें जरूर बताएं. Please let us know. Final thing before we move on to meme review, I want to just bring this up as well. Is another part, and this kind of works into the hijab judgment that just came out as well. That, you know, we saw this during the hijab controversy as well. You know, the people who were shrieking and shouting the loudest about ki nahi, 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 we want these girls to be wearing the hijab, questioning the hijab is basically destroying the Muslim community. People who were screaming this the most weren't really the rabid mullahs. Wo to bolenge hi. The thing with the rabid mullahs is they're very straightforward. That's a very straightforward problem to handle. क्या गांड पे गांड का बाल बोलते हैं ना, वो है गांड का बाल. So the what was I going to say? Yeah, so that's a very straightforward problem to handle. The harder, more difficult problem to handle is those people that, you know, that move around in liberal circles in Khan market, that call themselves liberals, that wear a cocktail dress while at the same time they want girls in Karnataka to be in hijab forever. It's those people who go on Instagram and they'll tweet, you know, dumb shit like, guys, we need to question everything, question your leaders, question this, question that, question your roles. But at the same time, these are the same people who will support those Islamists who want to chop off people's heads because those people want to question their religious beliefs.
Yeah.
That's the more serious problem. And I think you captured it really well in your article. You know, yeah. Those are the people jinke khilaf, I think this Jan Salab or whatever you call this that has happened against, you know, in favor of Kashmir files. It is those people who are shrieking and shouting the loudest, even in the Kashmir files thing, even during the hijab judgment. दोनों के समय में सबसे ज्यादा वही लोग चीख चिल्ला रहे थे. Because
Do you
they're afraid of
realize
losing
one
that
thing?
captive audience.
I want you to go to Rana Ayub's timeline. That ever since she started tweeting against Kashmir files, look at the ratios she's getting.
Oh, of course.
People aren't retweeting her.
Yeah.
There are more people answering her and quote tweeting her. She's not getting the normal support that she gets.
Yeah.
Right? In spite of that, I mean, imagine a woman so filled with hate. This is a woman who was clearly breastfed cobra venom by her mother.
I've never heard
I mean, such में बोल रहा हूँ.
analogy
There
before.
was no amniotic fluid inside her mother's
Oh
womb.
my God.
There was only scorpion venom,
Yeah.
and she was breastfed cobra venom.
Cobra venom. Yeah. Yeah, it's just I just think it's a shame. And I think this is undoubtedly, look, it's a harrowing movie. It's a harrowing experience in the movie theaters. You're gonna leave the theater absolutely shattered. But at the same time, there is a lot of positive.
I'm telling my mom to go. My
Huh.
mom and her group of retired IAS officers, lady IAS officers in
Huh.
Tamil Nadu. I've been calling them up every day, telling them to go. They're like, "Nahi, dar lagta hai. We're going to start
Yeah.
crying. We
Yeah.
can't go see it."
Yeah.
You know, so it's like people are actually scared to go see it because they don't know how they're going to react.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember when
does
I was in the
induce
theater,
trauma.
man, people were like stunned. Like when the movie finished, people didn't know what to do with themselves. Like,
Yeah.
उठे कि
I mean, you
बैठे
can't
कि
bring
खड़े
yourself to
हों कि
crap.
what to do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a very interesting reaction that people had. It was like embarrassment, anger, sadness, all of that like mixed together. It's a powerful movie. I really urge that if anybody who's watching this show right now, if you've not seen it, please take a look at it. Please check it out. You know, it's consider it almost like a dharmic duty to go check it out. All right, I wanna move towards the meme review, but before we do the meme review, we wanted to just reiterate that last week we announced that we had started our own Patreon for the show, the World Nimbu Order Patreon. So if you want to support the Patreon, link is in the description. You can click on the link in the description and you can support as well. As we told you last week, we have designs for a few t-shirts that we're going to be giving to patrons only. So if you become a patron, you're going to receive the t-shirts after about 3 months of membership. So Kushal, I'm sure you have the designs there, right?
Yeah, I'll just put them up.
Yeah.
Just give me a minute. So unfortunately, if you like Abhijit,
Joki, next week we'll show you on the show as well. So not to worry. Those designs are aane wali hain. So if you want to get those designs, if you become a member on Patreon, again, the link is in the description. So you can go and support us there.
and before we go into the Mimi also, Sham,
इतने कमेंट आते हैं मेरे को ये सेम वाले. Did you like it? अच्छा लगा आपको एक्टिंग? तो एक लाइक डाल दो वीडियो पर अगर आपको फिल्म में मेरी एक्टिंग अच्छी लगी तो. थैंक यू वेरी मच.
अच्छा, so but Sham, before we go into the meme review, हमारे प्यारे अभिजीत को एक बीच में शाउट आउट मिला था 2 दिन पहले एक वीडियो में.
बिल्कुल.
हाँ, so अभिजीत अपेरेंटली कुछ तो ऐसा है कि अंकल अभिजीत ने पी गुरुज के Q&A में JSD के कुछ बुक के कुछ पार्ट को पढ़ा था और JSD ने उसको द ग्रेट अरिहंत के शो पे मैं द ग्रेट, क्योंकि मैं और अरिहंत बात नहीं करते हैं तो उसको अपेरेंटली तो मैं तो सैड लाइफ दोनों के लिए सैड लाइफ है. सो साई ने जवाब दिया था अभिजीत को. So, Abhijit ji, क्या विचार है आपके?
दो चीजें. Wait. Before you answer, let me know उसने क्या बोला था, थोड़ा वो भी explain कर दो ताकि people know the context.
हाँ, तो explain कर साले काले.
हाँ, काला
अबे साले मैं ही explain करूँ. So whole thing was just to paraphrase it. I think Abhijit had read a particular quote from JSD's book, which was about group rights and individual rights. Do you अभी मतलब वो कोट भी मैं निकालूं अभिजीत की कुछ भी काम तू करेगा?
अरे तू कर ना, तू काला है.
ये यूक्रेनियन होमलैंड वाले जो लोग हैं ना, ये लोग दूसरों से ही काम करवाते हैं सारा. देखो यूक्रेन के कलर्स भी पहन रखे हैं इसने.
See, if you look at this, I'm going to take a photo. See this, you are in the show. It looks like the colors of Ukraine.
Yeah, I know.
मैं तेरे को फोटो लेके भेज रहा हूँ.
अपना यूक्रेनियन होमलैंड सपोर्ट कर रहा है.
हाँ, तो ये ना, it's like everybody can see that I'm actually an invading Aryan from Ukraine.
Yeah, clearly.
With blonde hair and blue eyes.
Okay, so Abhijit had read this bit from the book, right? So I'm going to read it verbatim.
Okay.
So fifth, and I expect to raise quite a few hackles with this point. In a civilization state, the core unit is not the individual. Instead, it is the group, rather groups. The logic behind this position is that a European-style nation-state is built on the premise of a, quote, nation, that is, people bound by one or more factors such as language, faith.
Justice for Ukraine.
Ethnicity.
Ukrainian homeland ko.
Sorry, go ahead. Or ethnicity. Given the internal homogeneity of a European nation-state, it makes sense and is perhaps more desirable to treat the individual as the core unit whose rights must be safeguarded against intrusion by the state and other individuals. However, in a civilization state, every group is rightly interested in protecting its own identity from encroachment by other groups as well as by the state. Such being the case, the claim on the one hand that Bharat is a civilization state and to argue on the other that individual rights must remain supreme in a civilization state are logically, historically, and constitutionally incongruent assertions whose impracticality, coloniality, and naivete are writ large on the face of it. Only a mind thoroughly dyed in Eurocentric Western normative ideas on individual rights while paying lip service to Bharat being a civilization state is capable of missing the whole point of a civilization state by light years by treating the individual as the core of a civilizational society. I must clarify, I do not mean for a moment that the individual has no rights in a civilization state, or that in all circumstances and in every conceivable situation the individual's right must give way to the group's interests. However, it is certainly my case that where the individual's whim is couched as a right and has the effect of adversely affecting the interests of the group or the interests of other groups or the civilizational interests, the individual's right must necessarily be traded off against the greater good.
Now, I had said that this reminds me of the Communist Manifesto. So J. Sai Deepak says that I am misunderstanding decoloniality, and his defense is go read the Constitution, which says that public order is that individual expression is subject to public order, public morality, and all of that. So a person writing a book on decoloniality's defense is go read a colonial constitution, which is the consummate product of a colonial mindset. Number one. Number two, why was the very notion that individual rights is subject to public order, public morality is a colonial construct. What is colonialism? You go occupy a country for profit, and the people of the country are required to maintain law and order. If you create a ruckus, I am not there to protect you. If the public demands your head, then they have to be given your head. So the state was absolving itself of any responsibility, and especially the cost of protecting individual rights. So understand, a person claiming to be decolonial is not only supporting a colonial constitution, but also the distilled essence of coloniality, which the part of the constitution which is distilled essence, the very economic rationale for coloniality. Number one. Then he says that I understand this has to do with gay rights. It has actually nothing to do with gay rights. But anyway, since he makes that argument, it has to do with gay rights, where it's 90% heteros versus 10% homos.
Right.
The point is, he says, I have to understand that I am protected by my group, the homos.
Yeah.
Hello, boss. I want to have nothing to do with that group, the homos. They're the biggest bunch of losers around. मैं उन पे थूक मारते रहता हूँ प्राइड के समय. Pride is a bloody march of degrade dumb fucks. Pride चूतियों की जमात है, चूतियों का बारात है.
क्लास की तरह कुछ समझ नहीं आया.
Now what Sai Deepak wants me to do is for me to get my rights protected.
Yeah.
I have to collectivize with a chutiyon ki jamaat. Then understand, how is collectivization any different from Stalinism? Because collectivization of farming, collectivization of the individual thoughts is the very essence of Stalinism. So within about 2 minutes of him talking, he has not just supported coloniality, but the very worst quintessence of coloniality and Stalinist collectivism.
And complete
How
independence
is it decoloniality?
And complete independence, Joe. I think what Kushal was reading.
Here is the issue. So the issue here is Sai Deepak's decoloniality is no different from British coloniality and Stalinist collectivization. If that is your essence of decoloniality, I'm sorry, I don't want to touch it with a barge pole. I'm going to fight it tooth and nail. It is an extremely dangerous idea, and it must be crushed.
And the final question I have for this as well, that when the paragraph that Kushal read, it was talking about, like, you know, all these groups, they need to have these absolute rights that need to be protected under whatever he was talking about. Doesn't that lead to the same kind of ghettoization?
Okay. No. Well, yeah, exactly. So you don't want that ghettoization. See, the argument for Sabrimala is very clear. Sabrimala is a private temple. You can't determine what private people do. Full stop. Uska mandir hai, usko jo karna hai, wo karega. Just like in a private school, you can say, if hijab is the uniform, then hijab is the uniform. But it doesn't apply to government. The answer to that is privatizing all Hindu temples. Not in introducing new legislation.
Right.
Protecting group rights or whatever it is. Group rights do not need protection. Understand this. As long as you respect private property. The
Right.
problem in this country is you do not
लेकिन
respect
प्राइवेट
property.
प्रॉपर्टी में भी तो अगर कुछ गलत हो रहा होगा तो स्टेट का तो बनता है ना.
So there is galat kya hai? Murder and things like that.
Or discrimination
Okay.
of
So
some
for
kind, let's say,
example,
like let's say caste-based discrimination.
Do you force a men's club to take women? Do you force a men's gym to accept women? Do you accept
vice versa.
or do you force a men's public toilet to accept women, or a women's public toilet to accept men?
Yeah.
You can't.
Sure.
Right. So it's just an extraordinarily confused. Basically, it's this. If Sai Deepak's decoloniality is no different from British coloniality and Stalinist collectivism, it's that simple. Okay. If you want that, you're going back to Stalinism and coloniality.
Sure. All right. Well, there you go. Let's see. इसका क्या response आता है.
हाँ. I just for the record, मैंने जो बोलना था कल मैंने हर्ष के साथ बोल दिया, और मुझे जो बोलना है मैं बहुत कुछ बोल चुका हूँ ऑलरेडी मेरे मोनोलॉग में. मेरे को इसमें और ऐड नहीं करना है. क्योंकि रियलिटी ये है कि थियरी तो मैंने पढ़ी है उसकी और किसी ने पढ़ी नहीं है, तो मैं अभी बोल के पक चुका हूँ अभी इस सब्जेक्ट पे. मगर उसने अभिजीत का नाम लिया था तो इट्स ओनली फेयर अभिजीत रिस्पॉन्ड करे. मेरा तो नाम लिया नहीं था. पता नहीं किसी का स्क्रू ढीला है, किसी का कुछ है अरियंत के हिसाब से. I hope that honor was for me, अरियंत. क्योंकि मैं और अरियंत एक जमाने में दोस्त हुआ करते थे, तो I hope that honor was.
यार मेरे को तो स्क्रू ढीला नहीं बोल दिया ना. मैं मूवी स्टार हूँ. देखो कश्मीर फाइल्स में मेरा रोल देखो तुम लोग. I'm a movie star. Please don't say bad things about me.
चलो अभी फर्स्ट मेमे देखते हैं. फर्स्ट मेमे
जो मैंने ट्विटर पे भेजा वाला सबसे पहले शेयर करो. That has to be the first one. That has to be.
क्या ये देखो.
बिहार में थे, सरकार को लेकर इतना गुस्सा था, सारी तकलीफ थी. ये हमारी सबसे बड़ी प्रॉब्लम है.
डांस देखो पीछे.
मजदूरों की आप लोगों को हैरानी होगी कि इन सातों के सातों मजदूरों ने जब उसके बाद 3-4 महीने के बाद बिहार में इलेक्शंस हुए, तो सातों के सातों मजदूरों ने उसी गवर्नमेंट को वोट दिया जिसने इनको परेशान किया था. सातों मैंने सबसे पूछा.
डांस देखो.
तो आप ये समझिए कि आप हैं, उसके बाद आप और यही हम लोगों ने कोविड की दूसरी वेव के बाद भी देखा.
Oh my God. यार what he's saying is not the funny part. वो जो पीछे
डांस कर रहा है
गोविंदा जी का डांस जो पीछे चल रहा है.
Okay.
I love how she's basically transformed into
on
Govinda
Twitter.
now.
This handle is Kaju Katla, and this is Via Sherry on top. ये कपिल शर्मा. आकाश की कोई सीमा नहीं, पृथ्वी का कोई तोल नहीं, साधु की कोई जात नहीं, और पारस और कपिल शर्मा का कोई तोल नहीं, कोई बोल नहीं. अगर किसी को ये समझ नहीं पड़ा तो तुम बेवकूफ हो.
Yeah, seriously. बुला ले भाई वापस नौकरी पे.
I still don't get. You know, I've tried sitting through Kapil Sharma show. I literally could not. How do people watch this shit?
उसके कुछ पार्ट फनी है.
कोताली. अरे बहुत वर्नाक्युलर है ना, इसलिए इसको अच्छा नहीं लगता. ये सब वर्नाक्युलर चीज पसंद नहीं.
ऐसा कुछ नहीं है यार. This was friggin' funny.
This was hilarious.
मतलब आज तो मैं क्या सिद्धू पाजी के पीछे पड़ गया लोग. So this is my Baba Raul. मैंने तो लगता है रिजाइन करने के लिए जरूर लिया.
This is bloody amazing. But how many of your viewers understand what Bhishma Pitama was? I wonder.
रिजाइन करने के लिए जन्म
मैंने तो लगता है रिजाइन करने के लिए जन्म लिया है.
Okay, this one is from Reddit. This is from the handle Dank in India. टाइटल में कुछ नहीं रखा, ऐसा कुछ लिखा हुआ है.
अच्छा,
मेरे को कुछ समझ ही नहीं पड़ रहा है. शाम ये क्या है?
क्या है भाई?
पोस्ट रिमूव्ड.
अरे डिलीट हो गया लगता है, कोई बात नहीं, पोस्ट डिलीट हो गया
क्या हो
होगा,
गया?
कभी कभी कर देते हैं, कभी कभी क्रॉस पोस्ट जो किया होता है ना वो डिलीट हो जाते हैं।
ओह,
कोई बात
धोखेबाज
नहीं यार,
निकला ये
सेट
तो।
लाइफ नेक्स्ट टाइम। नेक्स्ट टाइम।
नेक्स्ट वन इज बाय अब्बा का हारमोनियम। अब्बा का हारमोनियम भी क्या नाम है। स्कैम, पैसे दे दो पुतिन को, स्कैम लेवल इनसेन, दिस इज व्लादिमीर पुतिन, president of Russia. Some people kidnapped me and put my duplicate in Russia. I didn't start the war, he did. I escaped and now hiding in your country. Can you send me 3,000 rupees so I can go back to Russia and stop this war? This is real. I can send selfie.
This is real me.
I can send a selfie.
ये नया नाइजीरियन प्रिंस है भाई, ये 2022 का नाइजीरियन प्रिंस है। Please, my bank accounts are frozen. If you send me 10 lakhs, I will send you 1 crore.
Okay, this one is by oh shit, ये कैसे नाम है?
ये देखो स्कल नाइट ने क्या बोला है, मैं पुतिन हूँ, मार किधर है।
ओके, ये इसका नाम मैं कैसे पढ़ूं? पप्पू की दाढ़ी में तुम लोग पढ़ लो।
ये क्या है भाई? Oh my God.
हैरानी होगी कि सलमान खान ने उसको प्रेग्नेंट कर
बहुत
दिया।
शुरू से करो।
दोस्तों, आपने सलमान खान के साथ एक बॉडीगार्ड जरूर देखा होगा, लेकिन आपको जानकर हैरानी होगी कि सलमान खान ने उसको प्रेग्नेंट कर दिया है।
What the hell was this? What is this? What is this?
इसको प्रेग्नेंट,
मतलब कुछ भी लोग क्या बनाते हैं बकवास।
ये उसी बंदे ने बनाया जिसने आपके ऊपर वो कम्युनिस्ट वाला मीम बनाया था। ये उसी बंदे का है कि दोस्तों क्या आप जानते हो ये कम्युनिस्ट है।
Okay, this is by Shrikant 268.
चैट संबित। Oh my God.
ये संबित के ऊपर तो इतने बनते हैं ना।
ये संबित यार।
अभियान चल रहा है। 20 अगस्त को चुनाव होगा, संगठन मजबूत है और राहुल गांधी जी के नेतृत्व में
संगठन मजबूत तो दिखाई दे रहा है चुनावों के अंदर। संबित पाता
20 अगस्त से पहले श्री राहुल गांधी जी 5 साल के लिए और 2024 में कांग्रेस का चेहरा होंगे।
अच्छा, मतलब चुनाव से पहले डिसाइड हो चुका है कि राहुल गांधी चेहरा होंगे।
मजा आ गया।
बिल्कुल तय हो चुका है क्योंकि कांग्रेस के कार्यकर्ताओं में
ये तो अनाउंस हो गई है कि राहुल गांधी होंगे 2024 में मोदी के खिलाफ।
संघ आरएसएस भाजपा डरता है उस गांधी परिवार का जो ये बार-बार कहीं ने फायदा होता है। तभी तो
प्रधानमंत्री के 24 जल्दी मिठाई ला। पहले तो मुंह मीठा करिए, मैं काजू कतली, लड्डू तो मिले नहीं है, काजू कतली आए हैं। राहुल गांधी जी जो पीएम के फेस बनने वाले हैं 2024 में, उसके लिए काजू कतली सबके लिए है। पहले अच्छा मुंह मीठा करें।
संबित इज वंडरफुल यार।
धन्यवाद,
ये
स्वीकार कर
लेता है ये।
हाँ, थैंक यू। मतलब आप चेहरा राहुल गांधी को आपने आज घोषित किया है, ये कोई छोटा विषय नहीं है।
अरे जो है
मिठाई लाओ।
Sambit Patra is highly entertaining, huh?
यार ये बहुत सही
Every time I
होता
switch
है।
on the TV, I don't have a TV, but when I'm in somebody else's house and I change channels on TV, when I see Sambit Patra, I always sit and
Always
listen to
watch
what
it.
he has
यार
to
ये
say.
बंदा बहुत
He's always
entertaining
super
है।
entertaining.
He's very entertaining. He's always मिठाई तैयार रखी हुई है कि जैसे
So
ये
this is
बोलेगी
by
काजू कतला।
Seeker_23.
When you forget to study math before press conference.
ऑपोजिशन वोट को जो डिवाइडेड हो गया है, इसमें उसका एडवांटेज बीजेपी को मिला बिकॉज दे हैव गॉट देयर सिंगल वोट। सपोज 1 into this 1 plus 1 and 1 they have got 1 and other political parties this affiliate they have got -9 ऐसा उसको कॉन्टेस्ट करना था। तो जस्ट लाइक अभिमन्यु के जैसा बहुत किया था, ऐसा उसको हराने के लिए, दिखाने के लिए ऐसे किया है।
अभिमन्यु किधर से आ गया पूरे मामले में?
इसको देख के
एक बार फिर प्ले करो जल्दी।
शिशुपाल।
नहीं एक बार फिर से प्ले करो, रिप्ले करो, ये भीषण मजेदार है।
एक में से एक माइनस हो गया और एक मल्टीप्लाई हो गया, तो अभिमन्यु को वोट पड़ गया।
डिवाइडेड हो गया है, इसमें उसका एडवांटेज मिलेगा बिकॉज दे हैव गॉट देयर सिंगल वोट. सपोज 1 into this 1 plus 1 and 1 they have got 1 and other political parties this affiliate they have got -9 ऐसा उसको कॉन्टेस्ट करना पड़ा. तो जस्ट लाइक अभिमन्यु के जैसा वोट किया था, ऐसा उसको हराने के लिए, दिखाने के लिए
किधर से आ गया इसमें? 1 into 1 divided by 1 equals -9. Didi.
See,
Oh my
Bengali
God.
mathematics were very advanced.
If she wasn't so evil, she'd be genuinely funny.
Next one is by Tandoori, titled "Chicha ko ice cream chahiye."
दिमागी इमरान का मांग बंगाल में बढ़ रहा है। क्या है? तो बाइडन है भाई।
चिचा को आइसक्रीम चाहिए, देखो।
Mayor Bowser and Chancellor Kirby, thank you for joining us as well. And for families across the country.
चाचा निकल लिया आइसक्रीम दिखाने के लिए। अरे यार, ये बुढ़ों के बारे में मीम बहुत सही सही बनते हैं हमेशा।
अरे I have to send you a meme.
Yeah, send it.
ये एक वीडियो था जो it's actually hilarious. There's this lady imitating Kamala, and I have actually never seen a better, funnier imitation of Kamala ever. मैंने
Put it
तेरे
in
को
the group chat so Kushal can play it. Yeah.
हाँ, DM में भेजा है, इसको प्ले कर।
हाँ ठीक है, रुक जा, पहले मैं ये दिखाता हूँ। दिस इज बाय पार्टी dash AD 4080 स्लावा पप्पू। क्या फोटो है, क्या फोटो है। कांग्रेस प्रोटेस्ट अगेंस्ट राहुल गांधी रेजिग्नेशन, देखो कौन है।
स्लावा पप्पू, मोदी जी खड़े बीच में।
मैं सच में बोल रहा हूँ, जिस दिन पप्पू ने एक्चुअली रेजिग्नेशन दे दिया, नरेंद्र मोदी विल बी द सैडेस्ट मैन ऑन अर्थ।
या सीरियसली ये वो है, आरफा खानूम है, राणा अयूब है, इन्हीं लोगों की वजह से तो इतनी कैंपेनिंग हो रही है मोदी जी की फ्री में, बताइए।
अच्छा, ये अभिजीत तेरा वाला मैं अभी शेयर कर रहा हूँ। ओह माय गुडनेस, ये तो मेरे को देखना है, मैंने नहीं देखा है।
Oh, I haven't seen it either.
You want to know why I was late for work today? Okay, well, the reason why I was late for work today, okay, is because when I got in my car, okay, it wouldn't start.
Okay.
Car won't start. You can't drive your car. Yeah, I would like to purchase this. Purchase. That means to buy something. When you purchase something, you are buying it. You want to know where I live? Okay. Well, I live in a country, okay? And inside that country is a state. And inside that state is a town. And inside that town is my house. That is where I live. Okay.
Oh my God, this is so
She does
good.
actually talk like that. She
This
does
is
actually
really
talk like
good.
that. Yeah,
She does.
she actually does talk like that. I don't know why she talks like that though. Is it like a condescending or a patronizing way of speaking, or is she just, does she think herself, okay, this is how people speak?
I
don't know which one it is.
But
Okay,
given
this
उसने
one- हाँ, बोल।
given she's made chutias out of everybody, I think she can make that's how you make chutias out of people.
That's true. Full protest bazi. Anything happens in a corner of
This
the
is by
world.
zombie wala. So anything happens in any corner of the world. French feminist.
नीचे करो, पूरा नीचे करो, पूरा नीचे करो।
पूरा है। वो बेसिकली द ह्यूमर इज कि वो जहाँ भी होता है वो गोरी औरतें अपने आप को नंगा कर लेती है।
पुटिन वापस जाओ। ये क्या तरीका होता है भाई?
कुछ भी होता है, गोरों को और कुछ आता नहीं है, अपने टिट्स दिखा देते हैं।
ये इंडिया में भी आ रहा है, डोंट वरी, ये साउथ दिल्ली में भी आने वाला है जल्द।
आने वाला है।
हम सबकी आंखें खराब होने वाली हैं कुछ दिन में।
Give us this one is called मुझे क्यों तोड़ा भाई जितेंद्र सलगाकर।
अरे जितेंद्र का भी बहुत दिन के बाद आया।
इंडिया वर्सेस इंग्लैंड T20 वर्ल्ड कप, युवराज सिंह, फ्लिंटॉफ, स्टुअर्ट ब्रॉड।
ये तो मेरे को भी पता है, ये मेरे को भी पता है। I watched that game. ये तो मेरे को भी पता है। गरिया के, so explain the meme कि गरिया के युवराज सिंह को फ्लिंटॉफ गया था। युवराज सिंह ने तोड़ा ब्रॉड को
6 छक्के मार दिए युवी ने।
को 6 छक्के मार दिए फ्री में।
What are you people talking about?
Oh my God, ये इसको क्रिकेट भी नहीं समझ में आता क्या?
क्रिकेट भी नहीं देखता।
अरे क्रिकेट is vernacular for you.
अरे क्रिकेट क्या होता है? वो छक्कों का गुल्ली डंडा होता है।
Listen, I don't disagree with that. I don't disagree.
रुद्रवीर
for once I
next
agree
है।
with Abhijit.
Oh shit! ये क्या है? Oh shit! ये लोग क्या बनाते हैं? थाईलैंड में पक्का ठिकाना बना लेना है फिर भाई रुद्रवीर। बस अब एक राजस्थान बचा है, उसके बाद अपन फ्री।
मैं परमानेंटली थाईलैंड में जाके सेटल हो जाऊंगा।
So sad.
सर जी ने ऑलरेडी थाईलैंड में घर खरीद लिया है सर, परमानेंटली सेटल होने वाले हैं राजस्थान।
By the way, on a slightly serious note, Veer Sanghvi has written an excellent article about Sonia, Priyanka, Rahul today.
Really?
I've tweeted it out. Go check it out. He's actually nailed everything that needs nailing out here.
Okay. The next one is a video called by the handle Slamophobe. It is titled "A Normal Day at Indian News Stations." ये मैंने नहीं देखा।
పాస్ చేస్తామని చెప్తున్నారు, కానీ రష్యా మాత్రం కొద్ది కొద్దిగా అన్ని ప్రాంతాలను ఆక్రమించుకుంటూ వెళ్తుంది, ముఖ్యంగా
एक मिनट,
కొద్ది కొద్దిగా అన్ని ప్రాంతాలను ఆక్రమించుకుంటూ వెళ్తుంది, ముఖ్యంగా
It like blew her away. Did you see that? Did you see her flying away? Like actually,
they actually did this.
They actually did it on TV. It's Telugu TV.
Yeah, Bhagwan. This is a completely real video. Bomb मार के उड़ा दिया है।
I think had it not been for Mr. McAdams, this would be the iconic video clip of the Ukraine war to come out of Indian TV. But unfortunately, it's Mr. McAdams who's become the iconic.
McAdams, he's the biggest celebrity in
शाम
India.
वो एक लिंक है ना जो शाम भाई या देखो वो खुल नहीं रहा है।
अच्छा,
वो खुल नहीं रहा।
शाम
So I'm going to the next one by Zombie Wala. This is called Geopolitical Bazi.
India.
Oi! No fighting. No fucking fighting. No fighting. No fucking fighting! Good. Get the Oi! No fighting. No fucking fighting. No fighting. No!
Look at Pakistan at the end.
Fighting! Good. Get the
But by the way, this series
this is an
Peaky
amazing
Blinders
video.
is just amazing.
I don't like it.
What is just amazing?
Peaky Blinders.
I've
love
never
it.
seen it, yaar.
I
People
love it.
talk
You're
about
not
it so
missing
much
much.
कि यार it's almost turned me off. इतना
Abhijit
लोग
is
बोलते
useless.
हैं
Yeah.
Do not listen to
पीकी
Abhijit.
देख पीकी देख मतलब मेरे को नहीं देखना यार.
विक्रम 2077 का है शीर्षक ये फोटा है फोटा.
फोटा. Oh my goodness.
ये देखो इंडिया टू पाकिस्तान आफ्टर एक्सीडेंटली लॉस्टिंग विशिंग. ये आपके साथ एक छोटा सा प्रैंक हुआ है. वो उधर कैमरा की तरफ देखकर हाथ हिला दे.
वो होता नहीं था जब लोग कॉलोनी में क्रिकेट नहीं खेलते तो आंटी का शीशा फूट जाता तो बोलता आंटी सॉरी गलती से हो गया प्लीज बॉल वापस कर दो. तो मोदी जी पाकिस्तान में जाके आंटी प्लीज ब्रह्मोस वापस कर दो. गलती से ब्रह्मोस चला गया. It's very nice.
3 more to go.
हाँ.
This is called Bhikhari Master 420. This is our target.
ये कांग्रेस है ना. ये कांग्रेस कांग्रेस इन दी कांग्रेस आफ्टर इलेक्शन.
कांग्रेस आफ्टर इलेक्शन
नहीं जीतेगा. हमारा मर्जी है. हमारा टारगेट नहीं जीतेगा. समझा नहीं आपकी बात. तुम सब हमारा टारगेट है हम नहीं जीतेगा. फिर खेलते क्यों? हमारा मर्जी.
हम नहीं जीतेगा. By the way, this is also a very good explanation of क्यों बांग्लादेश पाकिस्तान से कट के अलग हो गया. That's their depiction of
racist,
Bangladeshis, by the way.
Yeah, super racist.
Yeah, that's their depiction of Bangladeshis. Yeah.
Okay, this one is by Zombie Wala and it is titled Raga Mood. मतलब राहुल गांधी का mood, I'm assuming.
फिर से मेरी पार्टी चुनाव हार गई.
फिर से मेरी पार्टी चुनाव हार गई. हाँ जी. चलो भाई अपने तो फिर थाईलैंड जाने का टाइम है.
राहुल गांधी यार.
एक और है.
Why are all the memes in this program so vernacular?
What can I say यार. इतने सारे vernacular हमारी audience ही है.
Last one is by Simba. This battalion will go down in history as the strongest one. It is titled. Here's 5 TikTok dances you can do to help the Ukraine fight Russia.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Did you see the one of the Indian dance teacher in America?
No.
Yeah, oh
I don't
god,
think
yeah.
so.
She dedicated her thing to all the animals trapped in Kiev Zoo.
Oh my god, no.
Oh my god, have you guys not
No,
seen it?
send it.
Holy
Send
shit.
it. I have
One
to see
second,
it.
one second.
Oh my god. क्यों भारत का नाम खराब कर रही है मैडम फालतू में. ऐसे ही नाम खराब है इंडिया का. क्यों करते हो ऐसे काम. वैसे if you want to help Ukraine, if you want to help all the poor Ukrainians जिनकी हालत खराब हो रखी है, please do one of those 5 TikTok dances.
अरे ये देखो ये ट्विटर पे. Today I would like to thank someone who has taught me to always donate to the right cause. Rana, you sit the fuck down, Rana. I wasn't talking about you. Kushal मेरा खड़ा हो रहा है.
Oh, that's amazing. That's amazing. That's a good one as well. I like that. I like that one. I enjoyed that one. भेज भाई.
I'm trying to find it.
अच्छा, trying to find it. तब तक हम क्वेश्चन ले क्या?
हाँ क्वेश्चन
लेते हैं. Let's see किसने क्वेश्चन भेजा है. Let me see.
क्वेश्चन ढूंढना यार.
हाँ, I'll find a few. रुको, एक दो मैं निकालता हूँ जब तक ये ढूंढ रहा है. So if you guys have some questions, let us know in the chat right now. We'll be taking a few before we get out of here. Let me see. क्या डाला है भाई? किधर है question? इधर है question. Okay. So this is from has appeared. Veer Das has appeared on Andrew Schultz and Akash Singh's show. Your views? अरे करने दे भाई, उसमें क्या प्रॉब्लम है? Yeah.
तुम्हारा क्या जाता
Tweedledee
है?
and Tweedledum have met.
मेरा क्या
So
जा
what's
रहा है
the
यार?
problem?
सदगुरु appeared on Joe Rogan's show. करने दो, क्या जा रहा है
हाँ
मेरा?
चल, मैंने भेजा है तेरे को ग्रुप पे,
भेज
देख।
दिया।
डाल रहा हूँ।
हाँ शेयर करो। Oh my god, no.
थोड़ी थे।
Oh my god, that's just
यार अभिजीत कुत्ते, मतलब ये तो डराने वाला है।
ये डराना वीडियो भेज दिया सर ने।
डालना
डाल रहा हूँ कुत्ते, टाइम लगता है शेयर करने को। नॉनसेंस इंसान।
लवड़ा।
Animals in the zoo in Kiev, Ukraine are
Oh my
in the
god.
bombing. This is for the elephant there.
Only for the elephants. What the What is this? What the fuck?
Abhijit, we have to send this to a common friend of ours.
Oh my god.
The animals in the zoo in
Oh
Kiev,
my,
Ukraine
what is
are
this?
terrified from the bombing.
So when you do
बोलता है unsubscribed. वीडियो देख के unsubscribe कर दिया।
तो मस्त है, एक ही होता है।
So you know when you're doing this mudra, it's called the Gaja mudra. So what you do is when the elephant, this is meant to be the trunk.
Yeah, the trunk.
And this is meant to be the ear.
Yeah.
The ear flapping and the trunk moving. Okay, so that is what she's doing the Gaja mudra for. Yeah.
Yeah, but context.
Well,
most people don't know the context. So
Well, she thinks it's going to help the elephant in Kiev.
oh, that caused me like physical pain watching that, man.
Yeah.
It caused me like genuine physical, like it had a physical reaction in my body. Holy shit.
Oh shit, I need to
my
send this to
God.
someone. रात खराब
Govind
करूंगा
Kumar
उसको देख।
donating my eyes.
देखो इन हम हमारी सब जो सब्सक्राइबर हैं चुतिए हैं तुम लोग दोनों ये तुम इतना सुंदर सा वो भरतनाट्यम कर रही है यू हैव नो अप्रिसिएशन फॉर द क्लासिकल डांसेस ऑफ इंडिया सब चुतिए साले वर्नाक्युलर मीम भेजते हो और इतना सुंदर सा ये कर रही है
वो नहीं भेजते
भरतनाट्यम तो अप्रिसिएशन नहीं करते हो इसका
Oh my god. But देखेंगे some Ocean is saying
अरे यार सैटायर इस मुद्रा को यूज करके कोई वीडियो बना दियो।
हाँ इसमें कुछ बना दे यार सैटायर।
हाँ सैटायर कुछ बना।
हाँ Ocean is saying guys by the way वीर दास पहुंच गया है इंडिया पे उस पे कुछ रिएक्शन होगा। अच्छा यार कुछ उल्टा सीधा बोलेगा तो देखेंगे।
अरे मारेंगे उसके ऊपर लोग।
दो उसको यार। क्या एंजॉय करो। Trying to where is this और क्या सवाल पूछे यार इतने सारे कमेंट्स आए हैं where are the questions क्या
I still can't get over that गजमुद्रा।
रुक मैं शुरू से शुरू करता हूँ देखता हूँ।
हाथी के सामने करो तो समझ पड़ता है मुझे। तो उधर अमेरिका में बैठ के कर रहे हो।
वो कॉन्टेक्स्ट ही नहीं है यार वही तो बात है।
बस ऐसे ही करी जाओ।
Hardik Thanki is asking, let me put this to you, Kushal. What is the future pathway, according to you, of Yogi Adityanath and Hemant Biswa Sharma in national politics? They seem to be doing well on state level. Will people like Jyotiraditya Scindia, Jiten Prasada, and other Congress people that defected from Congress be able to survive and thrive in the BJP?
Obviously, they will be survive and thrive in the BJP because there is nowhere else to go.
Yeah.
And they are performing very well. So I don't see any reason why they will not thrive and survive. But in politics, to make long-term 10-15 year predictions is, playing with danger because politics is very volatile by nature. And the nature of the beast is as such, there are so many variables involved in politics that one change can lead to that butterfly effect that turns the whole ship over, right? As they say, it can create a tsunami. Just the flapping of a wing somewhere can create a tsunami. But I think there is a space for enough people in Indian politics. We are a very diverse society. So in terms of representation and stuff like that. So I don't see any problem.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Bugsy is saying Shah Rukh Khan is making the movie Pathan. Of all hundreds of communities in India, he decided to make on one which is not Indian at all. अरे क्या बात कर रहे हो यार? अखंड भारत का हिस्सा है पठान। यार part of अखंड भारत यार क्या बोलते हो यार तुम लोग यार? थोड़ा दिमाग लगाया करो।
Very disappointing.
Yeah. All Indonesians, Cambodian, सब लोग अखंड भारत का हिस्सा है यार. तुम लोग क्या बोलते हो? Obviously they are part of India. What makes someone like Nitasha Kaul, I don't know who that is, but I think she's that professor lady, right? Berate Kashmir files despite that it was her community that was killed and was displaced from their homeland. Basically बोल रहे हैं कि उसी community के लोग इतनी film को गालियां क्यों दे रहे हैं? And that's true. I mean, that we've noticed that with other communities as well. We've noticed that with the Bengali community as well. Punjabi community में भी ऐसा है थोड़ा.
Because I'll tell you why. Here, it's the upper classes never suffered. Okay, they're always the ones to escape these things the best.
Yeah.
So they will always say, "Ki it never happened to me, therefore it didn't happen to you."
Yeah.
Do you understand? Tell me which rich person's house actually gets burnt down. Why is it that in Gujarat, do you know the name of anybody who got killed except that Jaffrey fellow who was a minister? And even that was unusual because he lived in a mohalla.
Yeah.
Tell me one really rich Muslim who got killed in that Gujarat riot. None. Tell me rich people who get killed in riots. They never do.
Yeah.
So there's a whole community that comes out and say that ye nahi hua. Or like the Kashmiri Pandit Sangharsh Samiti, because they're the 5 or 10 Kashmiris still left in Kashmir, they're shit scared. Or they're financially incentivized into not saying anything.
Yeah.
Right. So you will always find, it's what I call the Judenrat complex. So, the concentration camps in Germany, you had a class called the Judenrat who were given special provisions. They were Jews. They were chosen to maintain order within the Jewish, within the housing block or whatever.
Yeah.
And they kind of had to select everything, select, enforce and all of that. So it's the Judenrat mentality. कि हमको special privileges मिलते हैं और उसको maintain करने के लिए हम कुछ भी करेंगे. It's that simple.
There's another question which says, Manu Kapil is asking, do you think the only way for Kashmiri Pandits to resettle in Jammu and Kashmir is through demographic changes? Is the government, should the government be putting in efforts to resettling of Hindus, and is 370 still on behind the scenes? Let's just take the first part of that question.
So I actually was going to say something about this in the discussion while in the first half. I think obviously Pandits cannot be sent there without other communities of India trying to settle there too. It has to be a clear-cut road open for all communities of India to go and buy properties there. It could be non-Kashmiri Muslims also. ये तो ऐसा हो गया कश्मीर के मुसलमान ही रहेंगे और कोई मुसलमान भी नहीं रहेगा उधर, वो ही रहेंगे.
No chance. It's a part of India. All Indians should be allowed to settle in Kashmir. I'm very clear about this.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they need to be armed and given 24/7 armed protection.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. और क्या पूछा है? यार बहुत सारे. There's a lot of comments. I'm looking
common
for
question.
questions.
How do you define a patriot and a nationalist, and which one you consider yourself? I'm only answering for myself. I'm neither a patriot nor a nationalist.
Is there necessarily a difference? What is the difference?
There is.
Yeah.
In the European sense, a nationalist was more ethno-nationalism kind of a thing. Patriotism.
But in the
was
Indian
more
sense, Indian sense में क्या ethnic?
Indian sense में ज़्यादा
कुछ
कुछ नहीं.
वही मैं बोल रहा हूँ. Like in the Indian sense तो वो ethnic वो है नहीं superiority का नौटंकी.
So I'm like, look, I don't take these things like, I don't believe in nationalism. Let's put it this way. But it's a very convenient construct that I will defend, but I don't particularly believe in it. I defend it because I may not think of nationalism, but the people around me, China and Pakistan, do.
But doesn't,
and if I don't,
sorry, go ahead, finish your point.
And if I don't believe in it, I will be killed by China or Pakistan someday.
So is that
I'm quite happy to go along with
nationalism? Like, doesn't a civilization need some nationalist backing as well? Like some kind of like a nation state, geographical border, those kinds of things to survive and thrive.
So understand what's happened in Europe, for example. Europe was fine. What is all this? Oh, blue-eyed, blonde-haired Europeans being bombed. What is that? That is nationalism.
Yeah.
It's just that it's not nation-state nationalism. It's pan-European nationalism couched in racism, which is what Europe has always done.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just want to add one thing over here. That
Yeah.
whenever it comes to look, Abhijit did make a valid point about when somebody around you believes in these constructs. Because let's just put it very categorically. Nation states are fictions. These are all fictions. These are concepts and myths that we have collectively agreed to. So even the idea of a civilizational state, which I am very sympathetic to, is also a fiction. But why do we need to have this fiction? Is at some level the people around you do believe in these groups and these boundaries. So you have to play the game while you're at it. But it doesn't mean while you're playing the game you actually believe it. It's just a convenience because for me the things I believe in, which is individual rights, which is freedom of speech, which is the right to property, liberty, and other things. Unfortunately or fortunately, however you want to put it, depending on where you come from, they come from the scenario that they are derived from a constitution of this fiction or this thing that we call the nation state or a civilizational state. Because I believe in those values, I have to defend this fiction or this myth because I have no other way to do it.
Yeah, correct. I think people also need that, right? People want to feel like they're part of something. I mean,
that's why we have rituals and stuff like that, right? This is a collective ritual that we have. We all have come to this sort of a collective agreement, and we're kind of building upon that. We can say that.
AIM, what do you think is the end game of Putin at this point?
I don't think he's thought through the end game, but I think the medium-term game is to conquer the whole of Ukraine without exception. Either conquer Ukraine or obtain terms on his terms. Whatever comes first.
So if this Ukraine, this war just drags out, let's say for months it just drags out, there's heavy Russian casualties, which I don't know how accurate those numbers are, but it seems like there are heavy Russian casualties at this point. It will drive Putin more and more and more into a corner, it feels like, right? The longer this drags on. Because he wanted it to be...
And understand what will happen then. He will get more and more and more violent.
Yeah.
He's not attacking the cities because attacking cities involves too many troops.
Yeah.
Remember, the Nazi Germany, for all its technological sophistication, couldn't take Leningrad. They couldn't take Stalingrad.
Yeah.
They held out for 1 to 2 years at least. So Putin is not repeating that mistake. What he's doing is he's capturing the countryside and he's going to starve out these cities. Once the east is conquered, he's going to move to western Ukraine. Okay. So it's just sheer numbers, boss. It's a matter of time now.
To just throw as many people at the problem as possible.
Yeah, and I want to point out that his own deadline was the 14th of May. So I don't expect anything to happen till 14th May.
Right. All right. Last question. ABHS is asking serious question. Tiger print burqa कब आने वाला है?
हाँ, बहुत important.
अगले शो में आने वाली ही मैं. Please मेरे को कलुए और शाबा please मेरे को याद देना. And just a request to everybody on the show, if you want to show support for the Sham Sharma show, please make the photo of my anus your DP. Can you flash the photo of my anus, please, again?
Yes, I will play it right now. Kidhar gaya photo?
Take a screenshot of this, guys, because
Yeah, ये इधर photo निकालो और इसको profile photo बनाओ. थोड़ा खाओ, थोड़ा फेंको. इसको profile photo. So yeah, there you go. Something to leave you with and something to look forward to next week as well. Once again, if you're not a member of the Sham Sharma show, the podcast Patreon, become a podcast member of the Patreon as well. You get access to a lot of Patreon only content. You get access to the Q&A that we're going to do next week as well. So if you want to send your questions, go become a member on Patreon and DM us all your questions, and we will make a little Patreon only live stream next week where we'll try to answer all the questions that you've sent in. So you have a week to go. Go become a member. If you're a member already, send your questions on DM and we'll answer it next week. All right. Other than that, we'll see you for the next episode. Until then, stay happy, stay healthy. फिर मिलेंगे, टेंशन मत लो. And until then, जाके कश्मीर फाइल्स देखो. अगर नहीं देखी है तो जाकर देखो. And let us know in the comments how you like the movie. तब तक ये क्या चल रहा है? अच्छा, ये तो देखो, ये हाथी पोज. What is this called in Bharatnatyam?
The Gajamudra.
Gajamudra. ये देखो. Enjoy the Gajamudra and we will see you next time. Tata, bye bye.
Bye.